Some connections in life feel different from the moment they begin. They don't follow logic, timing, or convenience, yet they leave a lasting imprint on the heart and mind. These are the relationships that linger long after distance, silence, or separation appears to end them. You may try to move forward, stay practical, or convince yourself that the chapter is closed, but something within you quietly resists that conclusion. Psychology shows that certain bonds affect us at a deeper emotional and subconscious level, shaping how we think, feel, and grow. Spiritually, many believe these connections are not accidental but purposeful, designed to guide personal transformation rather than immediate comfort. When a person becomes part of your inner world, their presence doesn't fade easily. Thoughts arise without reason, emotions resurface unexpectedly, and memories carry more meaning than nostalgia alone. These experiences often confuse people because they don't always align with reality or current circumstances. You may wonder whether it's attachment, imagination, or something deeper trying to communicate. Psychology explains that the mind holds onto emotionally significant connections, especially those linked to growth, unresolved lessons, or deep emotional understanding. These bonds activate reflection, self-awareness, and emotional evolution, even when the relationship itself is no longer active. At the same time, many people interpret these feelings through a spiritual lens, seeing them as signs of destiny, divine timing, or soul connection. While psychology focuses on emotional patterns and subconscious processing, spirituality emphasizes meaning, purpose, and trust in a greater plan. Both perspectives agree on one thing. Some people enter our lives not to stay forever, but to change us forever. Their role may be to awaken growth, teach patience, or help us discover parts of ourselves we hadn't yet explored. This is why such connections often feel unfinished, timeless, or immune to distance. They resurface during moments of transition, healing, or self-discovery, reminding us of who we were and who we are becoming. The impact isn't always about reunion. Sometimes it's about understanding, acceptance, and inner peace. Recognizing these signs doesn't mean putting life on hold or waiting endlessly. Instead, it invites awareness, learning what the connection is teaching and how it shapes your emotional and spiritual journey. In this exploration, we look at the subtle signs that suggest a person may still be part of your destiny, not as a promise of return, but as an invitation to growth. By understanding these signs through both psychological insight and spiritual reflection, you can gain clarity without losing balance. The goal is not to cling to the past, but to understand its purpose, so you can move forward with wisdom, peace, and emotional strength. Number 1. You keep thinking about them without reason. When someone repeatedly comes to your mind without any clear trigger, it often feels confusing and even unsettling. You may be busy with work, talking to friends, or trying to move forward, yet their name, face, or memories suddenly surface. Psychologically, this can be linked to unresolved emotional bonds stored in the subconscious. The mind tends to revisit people who left a strong emotional imprint, especially if the connection was intense, meaningful, or unfinished. Spiritually, many believe this happens when two people are energetically connected, and one soul is subtly reminding the other of an unfulfilled purpose. These thoughts are not always about obsession or attachment. Sometimes they arise during moments of growth, change, or decision-making, as if your inner self is seeking guidance through familiar emotional landmarks. The thoughts may carry specific emotions, calm, longing, warmth, or even sadness, which further signal that the connection still holds significance. Over time, you may notice that thinking about them pushes you to reflect on yourself, your values, and your future. Rather than forcing these thoughts away, many psychologists suggest observing them neutrally. They can indicate unresolved closure, deep emotional learning, or a bond that once shaped you deeply. Whether interpreted through psychology or spirituality, such persistent thoughts often suggest that the person played, or may still play, an important role in your emotional or personal journey. Number 2. You feel an unexplainable emotional pull. An unexplainable emotional pull is the feeling of being drawn to someone without logical reasons. You may not talk regularly, live near each other, or even share the same life path, yet something inside you feels connected to them. From a psychological perspective, this pull can come from emotional resonance, when someone mirrors parts of your personality, wounds, or desires. The brain recognizes familiarity at an emotional level, even if the conscious mind cannot explain it. Spiritually, this sensation is often described as an energetic or soul-level connection, where two individuals feel magnetically drawn because of shared experiences, lessons, or destiny. This pull doesn't always feel romantic. Sometimes it's comforting, grounding, or deeply emotional. It may surface strongly during quiet moments, stress, or personal transformation, as if the connection is activated when you need inner support. Importantly, this feeling often persists despite time, distance, or circumstances, which makes it feel beyond normal attraction. Such an emotional pull can encourage self-awareness, healing, or patience, pushing you to grow emotionally. However, psychology reminds us to balance emotions with reality, as not all emotional pulls require action. Instead, they can be signals for introspection, understanding past patterns, or recognizing what qualities you deeply value in human connections. Number 3. They appear in your dreams repeatedly. When someone repeatedly appears in your dreams, it usually reflects unresolved emotions stored in your subconscious mind. Dreams are the brain's way of processing feelings, memories, and experiences that the conscious mind may avoid during waking life. Psychologically, this can happen when a person represents unfinished business, emotional attachment, or a lesson that has not yet been fully understood. The repeated appearance suggests that your mind is trying to integrate something important connected to them: closure, forgiveness, longing, or acceptance. Spiritually, many believe dreams are a channel through which deeper connections communicate, especially when emotions feel intense and vivid. These dreams often feel realistic, emotionally charged, or symbolic rather than random. You may wake up feeling comforted, confused, or emotionally stirred, which indicates the dream touched something meaningful within you. Repeated dreams can also appear during major life transitions, stress, or emotional growth, when the mind revisits significant relationships for guidance or comparison. Importantly, dreams don't always mean literal reunion or action. Instead, they may highlight inner needs, emotional healing, or personal development. Psychology suggests reflecting on the emotions felt in the dream rather than focusing only on the person. Understanding what they symbolize can help you learn more about yourself, your emotional state, and what your mind is trying to resolve or release. Number 4. Life keeps bringing you back together. When life repeatedly reconnects you with the same person through coincidences, chance meetings, or unexpected communication, it often feels intentional. Psychologically, this can be explained by selective attention. We notice patterns more strongly when emotional significance is involved. However, repeated reconnections often go beyond simple coincidence, especially when they happen despite efforts to move on. These encounters may occur during important life moments, suggesting that the relationship still carries meaning. Spiritually, such repeated crossings are often viewed as destiny-driven, implying unfinished lessons or shared growth paths. Each reconnection may reveal new perspectives, maturity, or emotional depth compared to the past. Even if the relationship doesn't continue permanently, each meeting can serve a purpose: healing, closure, or personal insight. From a psychological angle, these experiences encourage reflection on boundaries, emotional readiness, and personal growth. They can test how much you've evolved since the last encounter. Life bringing you back together doesn't always mean staying together. Sometimes it's about learning what you couldn't before. Understanding this helps reduce confusion and emotional dependency, allowing you to appreciate the experience as part of a larger personal journey rather than a fixed outcome. Number 5. You feel peace when you think of them. Feeling peace when thinking about someone is a powerful emotional indicator. Unlike anxiety, longing, or emotional turbulence, peace suggests emotional safety and acceptance. Psychologically, this often means the person represents comfort, emotional understanding, or a secure attachment in your mind. Your nervous system associates them with calmness rather than stress, which is a strong sign of emotional significance. Spiritually, peace is often interpreted as alignment, when a connection resonates with your inner values and emotional truth. Even if circumstances were difficult or the relationship ended, feeling peace indicates emotional maturity and inner healing. This calm reflection often comes after personal growth, forgiveness, or acceptance of reality. It may also appear during moments of solitude or reflection, when your mind naturally turns toward what feels emotionally grounding. Importantly, peace does not always mean desire for reunion. It can simply reflect gratitude for what the connection taught you. Psychology suggests that such peace shows emotional integration. Your mind has processed the experience in a healthy way. This feeling can guide you toward understanding what kind of emotional connections you truly need and value in your life, helping you make wiser emotional decisions moving forward. Number 6. You grow spiritually after meeting them ***. Meeting some people changes you in ways that go far beyond emotions or circumstances. After encountering them, you may notice a deeper awareness of yourself, your values, and your purpose. Psychologically, such people often act as catalysts for inner growth, pushing you to confront fears, heal old wounds, or question long-held beliefs. Their presence may trigger self-reflection, emotional maturity, or a desire to improve yourself. Spiritually, this growth is often interpreted as a soul-level connection designed to awaken higher understanding. You may feel more drawn to introspection, faith, meditation, or meaning after knowing them. Challenges connected to the relationship can become lessons rather than sources of pain. Even separation may lead to inner strength, patience, and wisdom. This kind of growth is usually uncomfortable at first, because it forces change, but over time it brings clarity. The person becomes a mirror, reflecting parts of you that need healing or development. Psychology explains this as transformative relationships, connections that reshape identity and emotional awareness. Whether or not the relationship continues, the spiritual growth remains, suggesting that meeting them served a deeper purpose in your personal journey. Number 7. You sense an incomplete chapter with them ***. Feeling that a chapter is incomplete often comes from emotional unresolvedness. Psychologically, this occurs when closure was never fully achieved. Important conversations, emotions, or understanding were left unfinished. Your mind keeps returning to the relationship, searching for resolution. This doesn't always mean wanting the person back. Sometimes it's about meaning rather than presence. Spiritually, many interpret this feeling as unfinished lessons or karmic ties, where growth was interrupted rather than completed. The sense of incompleteness may surface during quiet moments, reflection, or emotional vulnerability. You might feel that something meaningful was paused rather than ended. This feeling can motivate personal growth, forgiveness, or deeper self-understanding. Psychology suggests that unresolved chapters can influence future relationships if not acknowledged. Recognizing the feeling allows you to process it consciously instead of being controlled by it subconsciously. An incomplete chapter doesn't guarantee reunion, but it does signal that emotional understanding is still evolving. The purpose may be internal closure rather than an external outcome. Number 8. Signs and synchronicities remind you of them ***. Seeing repeated signs connected to someone, names, numbers, songs, or places, often feels too frequent to ignore. Psychologically, this can be explained by heightened emotional attention. When someone matters deeply, the brain subconsciously notices reminders more often. However, the emotional impact of these signs makes them feel meaningful rather than random. Spiritually, synchronicities are believed to be signals of alignment, suggesting that a connection still holds energetic significance. These reminders often appear during moments of doubt, transition, or emotional growth, as if nudging awareness. They can trigger memories, emotions, or reflection rather than direct action. Psychology emphasizes that such signs usually reflect internal processing rather than external destiny. They reveal what the mind is still working through emotionally. Instead of interpreting them literally, understanding how they make you feel provides insight into unresolved emotions, attachment, or personal meaning. Signs are less about fate and more about awareness. Number 9. You feel guided to be patient about them ***. Feeling guided to wait or remain patient suggests inner restraint rather than urgency. Psychologically, this can reflect emotional regulation. Your mind understands that timing matters, even if emotions are strong. Instead of anxiety or impulsive action, there is calm acceptance. Spiritually, patience is often seen as trust in a larger process, where outcomes unfold naturally. This feeling usually lacks pressure. It feels quiet, steady, and grounded. You may sense that forcing things would disrupt growth or healing. Psychology explains this as emotional maturity, where desire is balanced with self-respect and realism. Patience allows space for personal development, clarity, and emotional readiness. Whether or not the connection resonates, patience protects mental well-being. It shows that your inner guidance values growth over immediate emotional satisfaction. This feeling often fades naturally once its purpose, learning trust, balance, or detachment, is fulfilled. Number 10. Your intuition says the story isn't over ***. Intuition is a deep internal sense that operates beyond logic. When it tells you a story isn't over, It often comes as calm knowing rather than emotional desperation. Psychologically, intuition draws from subconscious pattern recognition, past experiences, and emotional memory. It doesn't guarantee a specific outcome but signals unresolved emotional processing. Spiritually, intuition is viewed as inner wisdom guiding awareness rather than predicting events. This sense may encourage self-reflection instead of action. Importantly, intuition feels different from hope or fear. It is quiet and steady. Psychology advises distinguishing intuition from attachment by observing whether the feeling brings peace or anxiety. If it brings peace, it often points toward personal understanding rather than reunion. The story may continue internally through growth, closure, or acceptance. Intuition's role is guidance, not certainty, helping you move forward with awareness rather than expectation. Number 11. You both trigger deep personal growth ***. Some connections are not meant to be easy, they are meant to transform you. When both people trigger deep personal growth in each other, the relationship often challenges comfort zones, beliefs, and emotional patterns. Psychologically, this happens when two individuals reflect each other's strengths, weaknesses, fears, and unresolved wounds. Being around such a person may push you to confront habits you ignored, heal emotional pain, or develop emotional intelligence. Conflicts or separations within this connection often become lessons rather than failures. Spiritually, this type of bond is seen as purposeful, designed to accelerate inner growth rather than provide constant comfort. Each person acts as a mirror, revealing areas that need healing or maturity. Growth may occur even in absence, as thoughts of the person motivate self-improvement or deeper understanding. Psychology calls this a transformative relationship, one that reshapes identity and emotional awareness. These connections often feel intense because growth itself is uncomfortable. However, the long-term effect is increased self-awareness, resilience, and clarity. Whether the relationship continues or not, the growth remains, suggesting the connection served a deeper role in shaping who you are becoming. Number 12. Distance never breaks the connection ***. When emotional connection remains strong despite physical or emotional distance, it indicates deep attachment stored in the subconscious. Psychologically, this occurs when a bond is internalized rather than dependent on constant interaction. Even without communication, the emotional presence of the person remains vivid. Memories, emotions, and understanding stay intact over time. Spiritually, many interpret this as an energetic bond that is not limited by space or circumstances. Distance may reduce interaction, but it doesn't erase emotional significance. Often, time apart brings clarity instead of detachment. You may grow individually while still feeling connected at a deeper level. Psychology explains that such bonds form when emotional experiences were intense, meaningful, or formative. However, this doesn't mean the relationship must resume. It simply shows its lasting psychological impact. Healthy awareness involves acknowledging the connection without letting it hinder present growth. Distance tests whether the bond was superficial or deeply rooted, and in this case, it proves depth. Number 13. You pray or think about them instinctively ***. Thinking or praying about someone instinctively happens without conscious decision. Psychologically, this reflects deep emotional imprinting, where the person is associated with vulnerability, hope, or emotional safety. During stress, uncertainty, or reflection, the mind turns toward what feels meaningful or grounding. Spiritually, praying for someone often signifies compassion, forgiveness, or a sense of shared destiny. This instinct is usually calm rather than obsessive, suggesting emotional sincerity rather than attachment. Psychology views this as emotional integration. The person has become part of your inner emotional world. It doesn't always indicate desire for reunion. Sometimes it reflects gratitude or concern. Such thoughts may arise during moments of growth or decision-making, when the mind revisits significant emotional influences. Recognizing this instinct helps distinguish healthy emotional connection from dependency. It shows the depth of emotional impact rather than unfinished desire. Number 14. The connection feels timeless and familiar ***. A timeless, familiar feeling often appears when a connection feels natural from the beginning. Psychologically, this can be explained by emotional compatibility and recognition. Your mind identifies similarities in values, communication style, or emotional expression. This familiarity creates comfort and trust quickly. Spiritually, Many describe this as a soul-level recognition, where the bond feels old despite being new. Time seems irrelevant because the emotional connection feels stable and enduring. Conversations flow easily, silence feels comfortable, and understanding feels intuitive. Psychology suggests that such familiarity reduces emotional anxiety, creating a sense of safety. This doesn't guarantee permanence, but it does indicate emotional resonance. The feeling often remains even after separation, reinforcing the sense of timelessness. Understanding this helps appreciate the connection without idealizing it unrealistically. Number 15. You feel they will return at the right time. Feeling that someone will return at the right time often comes as quiet acceptance rather than anxious waiting. Psychologically, this reflects emotional surrender, letting go of control while maintaining inner peace. It doesn't involve constant anticipation but a calm trust in timing. Spiritually, this feeling is linked to faith in alignment, where outcomes unfold naturally. Importantly, this sense doesn't disrupt daily life. It coexists with personal growth and forward movement. Psychology emphasizes that such feelings should not prevent forming new connections or living fully. The belief may represent trust in life's process rather than a literal prediction. Whether or not the return happens, the emotional lesson, patience, trust, and detachment, has value. This feeling often fades once its purpose is fulfilled, leaving clarity and emotional balance.